guys. It's kind of a lazy Saturday over here for me, so how are you guys doing? Oh no, don't say this is doing this again. Hold on 1 second. Please say it was just my computer. I think it was just my computer. Yeah, it was. Okay, cool. Maybe it'll be easier to see your comments that way too. Watch on my computer rather than watching my phone, because this is the difficult part. I broadcast through my phone, so I have the video going and I have the comments popping up, and then it just gets a little confusing. So I'm gonna try having comments on my computer this time. How's everybody doing this morning? Like I said, it's a lazy Saturday here. I keep thinking it's Sunday. It's Saturday. Friday was weird. Felt more of like a Saturday yesterday. So hello, Road Reaper. How are you? Hello, Eggsy. Yeah, so I've got a few stories for you guys today. I'll start with some like a light one that took place in Germany, and then I'll start with a nasty one that took place in Argentina. I'm doing well, Chris. Thank you. Hello, Dylan. Hello. It's been kind of chaotic this morning. I got up early to film my other half, rounding up his racing pigeons to get them ready for a train this morning. And I had quite a few people showing some interest in the whole racing pigeon thing. So I thought I would do a video because a lot of you seem interested in wanting to know more about that, because a lot of people don't know that people still do it, which is kind of odd. But yeah, so I filmed that whole process this morning. I filmed a couple races. So I'm gonna put a little video together about that. And I'm gonna put him on the spot and ask him questions about how it works and when he got into it and all that sort of fun stuff. So Road Reaper says, I'm good. I'll be painting your terracotta pot next weekend. Oh, are you the stick figure one? I had a couple people say that they were gonna do it, and I dared them to try. It is fun and maddening at the same time. I actually have one of them with me right now. So if you haven't seen it, I just posted a video painting terracotta pots in Nightmare Before Christmas theme. Here's my Jack, and it went through the whole painting process. It was a pain in my ass. If I can be perfectly honest, it was a pain in my ass. Jack was probably the easiest of the three, and I didn't think that was going to be the case. I thought Sally was. But yeah, he ended up being a massive, or she ended up being a massive pain in my ass. So anyways, that video is up, and it does not have my face on the thumbnail. I decided not to put my face on it. I might have to do it up though, because it's really not, people aren't really watching it. It is kind of a different video for me. Well, no, it's not, because I've posted a lot of art videos, but the thumbnail looks a lot different than the ones that I've designed so far. So I'm wondering if that's part of it. Hello, Ghost Tracks. Okay, so the stories that I have for you today, like I said, one took place in Germany, the other one took place in Argentina, and they're both very different stories. So with Germany, the country is beautiful, absolutely freaking beautiful. So much history there. And it's weird because, you know, I still think they kind of get like a bad rap for World War II. You can almost feel that over there as well. However, the country's beautiful. The people were super nice. The food was amazing. You know, you'd have all these old towns with cobblestone streets and just beautiful, like colorful buildings. I can talk. And we stayed in this little town called Passau, I believe. But we had done a castle while we were there. Andrew says, hello, Chris, it's my birthday. Happy birthday. It's my boyfriend's father's birthday today too. So double birthday. So we were working at a castle, and I think one of the coolest, like I don't know about you guys, but when I go places, I get really excited about just things as far as like nature, like different trees and plants and flowers and that sort of thing. Just your surroundings and the animals and just all these little things that you didn't grow up with. So one of the things that I noticed for the first time in my life while I was at this castle was the Milky Way. I had never seen it before, or at least I'd never been anywhere dark enough where you could see it, that it would stand out enough to see it. And I remember standing out in the grounds of this castle, and it was just so dark there. It was just a really small town. Um, and it was dark enough that every star, I swear you could see every freaking star in the sky. And because of that, you were able to see the Milky Way. And I remember talking to one of the people that I was working with. I'm like, what the hell is that? Because I could tell it wasn't a cloud. And he just started laughing. He's like, you've never seen the Milky Way before? I'm like, no. So I thought it was the coolest thing. I can nerd out over little things. I can't help it. But the other thing with this castle is there was a bit of a food experience that I did not expect. And when we got there, the owners threw kind of like this little like banquet type of thing, but it was just for us. They cooked so much food, so much food. And it was like a lot of traditional stuff there. And Dylan asked, what did it look like? It just looked like a really, well, it's called Milky Way. It looks like a milky, thin kind of cloud that just kind of stretches across the sky. It was really pretty. It was really, really pretty. Yeah, I'd never seen it before in my life, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, so they threw this banquet, and it was just us. It was just me and my coworkers. Like, there's nobody else. So they went all out. And I got this soup, and they had these massive, massive meatballs in them, right? So I'm sitting there eating my soup. I'm like, oh, this is good. Eating it more. I'm like, yes. Got a bit of a weird taste to it, but yeah, okay, it's good. Keep on eating it. And this is when I noticed that Barry had this just smile on his face. And it was one of those smiles where you're like, what is he up to? So I'm eating. He's like, so Miss Williams. He's like, how do you like that soup? And I'm like, oh, it's good. Not thinking. And then I'm really starting to notice the look on his face. And I'm like, what the hell am I eating? And I'm like, Barry, what is it? And he's like, does it taste good? I was like it's kind of tastes like metallic-y, kind of. I don't know the taste. He's like, yeah, that's a big old liver meatball. And I was like, oh, I never had liver in my life, ever, 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 ever. And I didn't stop eating it, but it was gross. It wasn't so gross you'd stop eating it, but it was just that aftertaste. It had like this really metallic taste to it. Otherwise, it was really good. And all the other food there was amazing. But yeah, had somebody said, hey, by the way, those are liver meatballs, I wouldn't have touched it. But at that point, I'd already eaten it. I'd already tasted what it tastes like. So I just kept eating it. But yeah, it was not the best experience. And I just find it funny that he was sitting there with a shit-eating grin. He didn't even give me a heads up. He just knew that most likely I hadn't had it before. And he's just gonna sit there and watch me either like puke or love it, which I didn't love it, but I didn't puke. So I guess that was a win. Anyway, the next story is kind of a puke-worthy story. And it's weird. It's like a two-parter. This went down in Argentina. So we were at this place in Argentina. I think it was an old meat processing or packing plant or something. I don't even know. Pam says Barry looks like a prankster. He is. He's one of those people where you would be, getting ready to leave and get into the car. He's already been in the car for like 10-15 minutes, and he's jammed confetti into all the air vents so that when you turn on the AC or the heat, it's just like, it's like he did that a few times. There's another time I was in on this one. Was I driving? I might have been, I think I was driving actually. Um, one of our coworkers was like sleeping in the back seat, and I think I was driving. And Barry counted a 3 on 3. I had to slam on the brakes, and we're all supposed to yell. So he's like 3, 2, 1, and we're all like ah! And I slam on the brakes, and the coworker goes rolling forward, just about falls off the seat. So yeah, he's a prankster. We all are, though. I pulled a few pranks on Stephen Tango that I'll never forget. But okay, so Argentina. So we end up in Argentina. We're at this like meat packing plant that's been abandoned forever, and it's freaking disgusting. It's so nasty. Now, first of all, there are so many stray dogs. I've never seen so many stray dogs in my entire life. Luckily, they were friendly, right? They just wanted to see if you had food. They came to say hello, and like off they went. But they were everywhere, every freaking where. And it was so bad. This is the puke part. We were like running around the place, checking it out, like getting ready to investigate or do whatever. And we went into this one room, and it was just like the smell was horrid. Oh my God, it was so freaking bad. It was so bad. And we ended up going to the room, and we figured out what it was. It was like one of the strays or something must have died in there. And like, do you know how people like bloat when they die? Well, it looked like it bloated and it exploded all over a wall. So I remember we were sitting there, and it was just like the smell was horrid. The sight was just freaking disgusting. And I think the dogs are actually feeding on each other, like when one passed. So that just put a whole nother spin on like ugh, the dog's licking you or trying to lick you. It was disgusting. Pam's like, dear God, no, I know, right? We're like, hi, puppy. And it's like licking your face, and it was just in chewing on another one. It was disgusting. It was so gross. Dylan's laughing, bloated and exploded. I swear to God, that's what happened. That's what all of us think happened, because it was like carcass and just all over the wall. Like it was everywhere. It was everywhere, and the smell was freaking horrid. I hope no one's having lunch or dinner at this point. If you are, I apologize, because it was nasty. So some people will be like, "Oh, TV is so glamorous," and they'll like, I mean, we already talked about the poop in Ziploc bag story, so not glamorous, depending on what you do. And yeah, it was disgusting. It smelled horrid, and we had to pretend that it didn't smell horrid, and we just had to do our jobs and ignore the fact there was a exploded dog in one of the corners of the room. It was disgusting. It was so nasty. So nasty. So anyways, Argentina. We do our investigation, we do what we do, and then it's over with, right? We have to head back to, I think it was Buenos Aires. I'm not going to say it properly. I'm sorry. Anyways, we get to Buenos Aires, and we're only there for a night. We're just staying in a hotel because the next morning we're flying out. And it was pure chaos because Barry and I actually had to go from there to Ireland for a live show. But that's something entirely nothing to do with the story. So anyways, we wake up in Buenos Aires, we're leaving that morning, and for some reason, I felt adventurous. Now, typically, I wouldn't just wander around in a foreign city by myself if I haven't had some time there first, to kind of like get a feel for the place, whether or not I'm going to be safe, basic layout, that sort of thing. But we were only there for one night because we were just flying out the next day, and I, for whatever reason, Road Reaper, just here eating beef jerky. Gross. So, yeah, so for whatever reason, I woke up, I felt adventurous. I'm like, I'm gonna go out for a walk and find breakfast, right? God, I'm a dumbass sometimes. So I headed out into town. I don't know where in the city we were staying. I couldn't even tell you the hotel we're at. I have no idea, but we weren't in a bad part of town. And I remember that because I was by myself, I left the hotel, I started walking around, and I ended up in this area that was, if I remember, there was cobblestone, and there was just a lot of shops and restaurants, and there was just people everywhere. It was busy. Really beautiful area. But my dumbass wanted like a quieter spot to have breakfast. Mistake number one. So I go down some side streets thinking, oh, surely there'll be something that's not as busy down one of these streets, right? I'm a dumbass. So, anyways, I take one of these little side roads, and now I'm standing in front of this, what looked like a bar to me. It was beautiful, and I am a sucker for old buildings. So, it was this big old wooden, weathered, what looked like bar slash restaurant, right? And there was one of those like little fold up signs out front, those little triangular ones, and I could tell it was said on it that it was serving breakfast or having breakfast or whatever. Again, everything was in Spanish. So something that I noticed, it's like, do you know how sometimes you'll notice something, but you don't really take note of it? It's just like, you don't take that as a sign that maybe something's a little off. Like there was no signage outside of that one little sign out front, that one little folding sign. There was nothing else there to say the name of the place. There was nothing. But it looked pretty. So I decided I was going to go in. And I had a book with me. So I have my book. I'm kind of like engrossed in that. It's a beautiful day. I find this beautiful building. I'm ready for breakfast. I walk in. I really don't look around. Weirdly, considering I was so like into the outside of the place, I was just like in my book. So I'm in my book, I'm looking around just enough that I see this little two-seater table in front of a window, and I sit my ass down at it, and I'm just happy as can be sitting there reading. So one of the waiters comes over, super nice, asks me what I like for breakfast. I, order my breakfast in Spanish, and I'm all proud of myself. I'm like, Senor Farlow would be so proud of me right now. And I'm just so content in my own little world that I am not paying attention to what the frig is going on around me, right? I don't know what happened, but something happened that caught my attention, and I finally looked up, right? And I noticed that there was all these girls, like a lot of girls. And it was one of those deals where three sides of this building had, like the exterior walls had windows. And in front of each one of those windows was a little two-seater table like the one that I was sitting at. And the only one that was open was the one I happened to grab, right? So now I'm looking at all these tables, all of them packed with girls, all these center tables open. Only one of them were taken by this other guy that we'll get to. So I'm just like, what is happening? So that's the first part. Then I'm like looking at the girls, and I'm like, it's early. Not early, but it's like 7, 8 in the morning. It's breakfast time. They're looking like they're dressed for a freaking club. They've got these skimpy little clothes on, their hair's done, their makeup's done, their nails are done. And I'm like, this is kind of weird for breakfast wear. Hell, like, it's pretty, like, this isn't normal. So my brain's going, like, what? This is odd. So then I'm looking around, and there's one table with a guy who looked like he was about in his 40s. And he's wearing a really nice suit, and he's just eating his breakfast, and he just is going about his life like all is normal. I'm like, okay. And then I looked up at the bar, and there was a older couple having a drink, chit-chatting, nothing weird. I'm like, okay. Then I look back at the girls, and they're all looking at me, and I'm just like, what the frick is going on? And then suddenly it was like a light bulb went off. It was like ding, ding, ding. Like, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm having breakfast in a freaking brothel right now. And it was like, I'm just looking at them like, they're looking at me like, what the hell is this chick doing? So I'm like, oh my God, am I taking up their prime real estate right now? Are they mad at me because I have a window table? Like, maybe they are. And it was just like, I couldn't even wrap my head around what I was sitting in at that point. I mean, it was a beautiful bar, restaurant-ish thing, but I did not expect that. So I have my breakfast, which was amazing, by the way, which also confuses me. Um, I pay for my meal and I leave, right? Head back to my hotel, and I am just completely and utterly out of my mind in a what the frig just happened days, right? I went to this amazing looking place. I had this really good breakfast, and I just happened to be in a brothel, I think, because I wasn't even entirely sure at that point, but everything was adding up freaking weird. Like, so I get to the hotel, and in the lobby, like, one of the guys that I work with was there, and he's just like, "What happened to you?" Because he could tell I was just like, I think I had my WTF face on, because it was just kind of like, and I said to him, like, I think I just had breakfast in a brothel. He's like, "Oh my God, you too?" Then he started telling me about how other people that were on the trip with us had also had the same experience. And they said the same thing, a bunch of girls in like club wear and like sizing the guys up when they came into the place. And he just thought it was funny as hell because of all the days that I decided to go out on a little adventure by myself in a city I spent zero time in. That's what I wandered into. So, what I learned with travel is you pay attention to your freaking surroundings. That's one thing that I've learned. And it's funny because, I mean, I didn't feel like I wasn't safe or anything, and I felt no more uncomfortable there than I did the red light district in Amsterdam. But I think the difference is that when I went to the red light district in Amsterdam to have a look at what the chaos and the crazy was all about, like I knew what I was walking into. Where this, I did not know. I had no idea that this was like a normal thing for that city in Argentina. I looked into it afterwards, and there were so many stories about how other tourists did the same thing. They're like, "I think I had breakfast in a brothel, but I'm not sure." Or other articles that like talk about how prevalent they are and how normal it is. And to like, if you see a building that has no signage, that's one clue. If you see all the windows taken up by girls that look like in their late teens to early 30s, that's another clue. They're all dressed like they just got back from a freaking club. It was so weird. It was so weird. I did not expect that, and I just was kind of like, it was a Twilight Zone-y kind of morning. I don't know. I do not know. All right, I'm gonna go through some of your comments really quick, see what you guys got here. We get Dylan laughing about the bloated and exploded dogs, which was freaking gross. It was so disgusting. We got Road Reaper and his beef jerky while we're talking about exploding dogs. Crim it. Oh, the windows. Yeah, I totally walked into a brothel. It was a learning experience that I didn't care to learn. I can tell you that much. It was a lot. At least you weren't alone in your experience. No, I was not. It seems like a lot of the crew had the same experience. At least the food was good. Yes, it was. It was really good, which was kind of weird. Like, I didn't expect there to be good food in a brothel. I mean, I thought guys just went in and did their thing and out the door they went. I didn't think they went in and then stayed for ham and eggs. I was like, what is happening right now? It just didn't make sense to me. Kremet, that's it. I want to hang out with you. Okay, just you never know what to expect. Yeah, it was a little odd. I mean, like I said, I've been to the red light district, so I don't care. To each their own. What you do in your life, not my business. But my place is not in a brothel. I'm sorry. It's just not. But it's just like I was more weirded out by that experience than I was the red light district. But I think, like I said, I think the difference was I knew what I was getting into when I went to Amsterdam versus I had no idea that was a thing in Argentina. No clue. Yeah. The weird thing too about like the red light district, I remember walking down one street and Dylan a bang and breakfast place. Yeah. Yeah. So I think one of the weirdest things with Amsterdam. I remember we're walking on the outskirts of the red light district, and there's like, you have all these women that are just, I don't know. They were, some of them were kind of scary. Anyways, but their windows were like there, and you walk by all these women, and they're like tapping on the glass, and they're like, yeah, come in. And then on the other side of the street, the exact opposite side of the street, is a freaking church. And I'm like, what in the hell is happening here? It was so weird. So weird. But Amsterdam kind of gets a bad rap because everybody thinks like pot and the red light district. Like those are the two big things there. But it is such a beautiful city. There's so much freaking history there. The buildings and the architecture are amazing. Amazing, amazing. I love Amsterdam. Absolutely freaking adore it. You know, all the little canals. I remember we did like with my ex, we did a dinner tour on one of the boats down the canals. Just walking around the streets and all the cobblestone and all the old buildings. One of the coolest things about Amsterdam too is, yes, I would buy that. What would you buy? What did I miss? You need to write a book, Chris. It's great to have these experiences in our lives. The Adventures of Chris Williams. Yes, I would buy that. I don't know if I have the, like, attention span for a book. That's the problem with me. I'm kind of like, oh, squirrel. So I think I'd get so far in and then I'd just be like, meh. So I don't know. And I'd really have to go through all my shit because I took a lot of pictures on the road, and at points I took notes. I wish I took more notes to kind of just remember some of this weird stuff that I experienced. But yeah, I don't know if I'd have enough to make a book. I don't know. And I'm also one of those people that's like, well, who would want to read it? So I don't know. I have fun doing this because you get to tell these short little stories and you get to hang out and interact, and then they're up here. So if somebody wants to come back to it, they can. But Amsterdam, I don't know if you guys know this. I didn't know this until I went there. But when you're walking down the street, you'll notice that some of the buildings stand straight up and some of them like tilt out towards the streets, right? They look like they're leaning. And at first I thought, oh, maybe the ground here is unstable. They've got all these canals. Maybe it's just really wet. Like, you know, things have settled. No, it was actually intentional. It was very much intentional. They purposely built the front face of the building so that it leaned out into the street. And the reason why they did that is back in the day, a show of wealth was a tall building. And if the face of your building leans out a little bit and you're standing in front of it, it makes that building look taller. So it's not that the building was abnormally tall. They just made it look that way by angling the front face of the building. So I thought that was kind of cool. And they also had these like little hooks up the top where they would, you know, bring the hook down to hook, you know, whatever it was, a piece of furniture or whatever, to lift it all the way up off the street. And they could like slide it into the window of one of the top floors. Yeah, there's a lot of cool little architecture pieces out there. They were absolutely beautiful. And of course, everybody's on bikes. That was cool. There was something else there that freaked me out that I thought was disgusting, which was outdoor urinals. Now that that popped in my head, I wish I could erase it and wash my eyeballs because, man, did I get a full view of crap I did not care to see while I was walking down the streets of Amsterdam one time. They had these like blue plastic urinals that were like this, so people could walk up, guys could walk up to each one, and it's just like in the middle of the street. It's just there. You like walk by him and it's like, hey, hello. Like, it was gross, but it wasn't nearly as nasty as the one guy who was just straight up peeing in the street. Like, I saw way too much then too. I don't know what it is. You see some weird stuff once you start traveling. But yeah, why would you have an outdoor urinal like that? I mean, guys, come on. get it together. Find a place to go. It was just like, ugh. It was gross. Then again, I'm weird. I have that same squirrel. Yeah, I'm easily distracted. Michael says, wow, I'd rather go in the woods. There's no woods though. There's canals and you can't really pee in a canal because then everybody can see you. I don't know. I'm trying to remember if there was much for public restrooms, but even then, if girls have to figure it out, like, I'm sorry guys, you cannot have an outdoor urinal on the street. That would be nice. I heard of outside privies. They are there. Dudes hanging out just peeing. What the F? Yep, or they can just pee on the curb. Chris Williams for president. No more public peeing. It was so weird. It was gross. Like I said, I saw more than I cared to see. It was just disgusting. And actually, this makes me think of another story that we had happen. So when we were working, it wasn't in Amsterdam, but it wasn't far outside of Amsterdam. We're working on an island that had an old fort on it. I forget the name of the fort. I think it was used during World War II. It's been a while. Anyways, that's not what the story was about. So we made friends with this seagull in the parking lot that was hurt. It had a hurt leg. You know, so everybody's like babying the thing and they helped it out of, that's what it was. They helped it out of a net. It had its feet all like kind of wrapped up. So one of the guys grabbed it and then they got its legs free. And then we're feeding it stuff from the crafty table, which we like to call the crappy table because it's all junk food that's not good for you. But we're feeding it like Cheez-Its and stuff. And we're babying this damn bird, and then we turn around and some jackass just ran it over with their car, and we think they did it on purpose. Probably to put it out of its misery. But still, like, we got it free. We got his leg out. His leg was clearly not okay, but still, we're feeding it, and the friggin' woman just squishes it with their car. What the hell's that? What the hell is that? It was disgusting. We had a pet for like 5 seconds. We're not good pet owners. We tried. I was not happy with that situation. We all wanted to kill her. Like, we didn't name him yet. He had no name. He didn't live long enough for a name. It was disgusting. Michael says they're nuts over there. Yeah, I agree. Yes. Someone said that's messed up. Yes, it was very messed up. Fort McKillen. Was that it? That might have been it. That sounds kind of familiar. It was like an underground fort on the island. It was pretty cool. But I just remember the poor seagull that got squished in the driveway. Oh my gosh, I just thought of another story. Do I tell you it now or do I tell you it later? So nasty. All right, here's another gross one. I'm sorry. Sorry, not sorry. We're in Serbia and we're starving and there's not many places to eat. The hotel that we're staying at didn't even have a restaurant, I don't think. So we found out that there was a restaurant that was in walking distance. So it was only a few doors down. So a few of us decided we're gonna walk down there and get dinner. So we walk our asses down there and it's a cute little place. You know, it's not bad looking. You go in there, the waiter's nice. Then we get the menu and I noticed there were love glands on the menu, which I wanted no part of. And I'm pretty sure there was some sort of mention of brain, something brain on the menu, if I can remember correctly. I know I have a picture of the menu somewhere, but love glands were on there for sure. Wanted no part. I wasn't going to be falling into that friggin' liver meatball trap again on this trip. Entirely different type of ball, but still wanted no part. So we were like ordering our food or whatever. And like I said, there wasn't a lot of places to be going. So we ordered these hamburgers and when you think hamburger, right? You know, bun, meat, other stuff. Well, this place, it's like it came out and it was like, here's a weird patty that looks like one of those like squished sausage patties. It was like that kind of consistency, but it was like big. And then here's your meat, here's your pile of lettuce, here's some tomatoes, here's something else. I don't even know if we had buns, but it was like all the parts of a burger, but they weren't put together. They're just kind of all on a plate. Remember when they came out, we're all kind of like, what is this? We're all a little confused. But the worst part is I'm eating, thinking this isn't so bad. It's a little weird, but whatever. And I look up at the bar and the bartender's there and he's like this. I think he was up to like his third knuckle. Like it was up there. I think he might have been serving his own brain. Maybe his own brain was on the menu, who's digging for the next order. I don't know, but it was disgusting. And I was sitting at my table horrified. And I'm like, well, at least he's at the bar. I didn't order a drink. It's all good. We're fine. Like, we're just going to ignore this because we're hungry. So I ignored it. And then we go in there like a few days later, and who is putting all the silverware down on all the tables? The nose picker. He was like, I'm watching a place, all the silverware, thinking, oh no, no. Because all I could think was the night before where he's just like, rrr. That grossed me out. It was kind of disgusting. It was gross. So much weird shit on the road. Very grateful. Very, very grateful. I know that I was very lucky. But there were some experiences I could have done without. Donnie, that's nasty. Michael, boogers on the silverware. Dylan, so gross. Instant appetite loss. Sin, I would die. LOL. Yeah, I wanted to die. I was just like, what in the hell is happening right now? And on that trip, we made friends with a puppy. It seemed like everywhere we went, we were collecting pets. We had the seagull that lasted like 5 seconds. Then we had the puppy in Serbia. And then there was a kitten that we found in Belgium. I'm trying to think if there's some other ones. I know for a while there, it seemed like we were collecting pets. But yeah, it was disgusting. The nose picker. I thought the friggin' love glands were gross. That one grossed me out, I think, even more. I don't know. Didn't expect it. Grimmett, at least he wasn't scratching other areas. Maybe he was and I couldn't see him. I mean, he was behind a bar. He's scratching his butt. I wouldn't have fully seen it. But I mean, the nose picking was very obvious, and he was not trying to hide it. There was no shame in that pick. He was so comfortable. I'm sure he did it in there on the daily. And yeah, it was just, I didn't need to see him setting the silverware on the tables. That was just not normal. All right. I used to like to travel, but now my wife, now my wife tells me I'm a stick in the mud. She's not wrong. Wonder where his fingers were at. Ugh. Blah. It was so gross. It was so gross. I'm trying to think if there's any other weird, gross stories for food. I already told you guys about the guinea pigs in Peru, I think in the last stream. That was nasty. I agree, write a book of short stories. Ugh, Kremet. Was he spit shining the utensils? I don't know what went on in that kitchen, and I honestly don't know, considering I saw what happened in the dining room. No, we don't need to know. I probably wouldn't have eaten my entire time there. That trip was chaotic though, because we were in Serbia, but then we got shot. Barry and I got shot all the way to LA for like 2 nights to do this awards thing, and then we got shot right back to Europe. We're a couple of zombies, complete and utter zombies. They eat rats in Peru. They were eating guinea pigs. Guinea pigs were very much on the menu, and that is what had come out the night that we went to go eat. The first night there. Actually, no, I lie. It wasn't the first. Was it the first night there? I feel like we did 2 places. We did do 2 places in Peru. We did a place that was way the hell up in the mountains. So far up in the mountains, they had to bring us halfway up so that we could get used to the altitude, so that we wouldn't get altitude sickness, and then they brought us up the rest of the way. And then the other place, I believe, was a bullfighting arena. Yeah. Yeah, because the entire night we're talking about all the bullshit on the ground. um, but I think it was no, I can't remember which happened first. One of the locations, the bullfighting one, we stayed in a really, really nice hotel, and the food there was amazing. But we did go to another place that had the guinea pigs, and it creeped me out because, I mean, who hasn't had a guinea pig for a pet? And then to see one come out on a plate fried, like fully fried, like it, I wanted to puke. And everybody else is like sincere, like they're just sincerely trying it. I'm sorry. There's just some things I can't do. I had haggis. Haggis was all right. But it didn't look like an animal when it came out on the plate. So there's, it didn't have its eyes and teeth. It's kind of gross. Hamburger, says Dylan. Very much so. I did have the hamburger because it was the only thing that looked normal on that menu. And I did not want fried brain or love glands. So I saw hamburger, and I think all of us ordered it because we figured that was the safest way to go, but we didn't know we were going to get a side of booger. So there's that. I mean, not all meals can be perfect, I guess. I don't know. It was disgusting. It was gross. Trying to see where you guys are at with the comments. Instant appetite loss. It was roadkill. What was roadkill? Oh, the bird. Yeah, the bird was totally roadkill. That was a bummer. That really was. It was our little buddy. We try to save it, and this woman just runs it over like it's nothing. That was awful. I can't type today. All right, living in New York, my buddies and I drove by the Peruvian stock. My head out the window. No. I don't think they eat rats. I think it was just they eat guinea pigs for sure. I saw those on the menu, and I saw them because a couple of our people ordered them. I was just looking at them like they're crazy. They're like, "You're here, you gotta try it." I'm like, "No, I don't. I'm here. You can try it." I'm not trying that stuff. Ghost tracks. I am retired airborne infantry. The stories of food I could tell you. I bet you have some stories. One was the Goliath bird eater spider. No, wrapped in banana leaves, and there's something high. Put on hot charcoal to cook. No. Nope. I'd have been out. I carried protein shake powder every freaking everywhere, because I didn't know if I'd get to a place and I wouldn't find anything I could eat or would want to eat or was safe to eat or wasn't going to be an animal that I grew up as a pet. I couldn't do it. There were some things that I was adventurous with, but I was only so adventurous. Like in Poland, I had eel. It just tasted like saltwater bacon. I mean, that's the best way I can describe it. For me, that was weird. I wasn't a very adventurous food kind of person, like at all, really. So for me to have eel was weird. What else did I have? I had haggis in Scotland, and I actually liked it. I would not touch blood pudding. That shit looks nasty. And my ex's dad used to eat it, and I would cook it for him because he liked it. But man, blood pudding looks so disgusting. I don't know why anybody would eat like a blood patty. Like, why would you do that? Nothing about that sounds good to me. I don't know. But neither does love glands or like fried brain. So there's that. I don't know. Yeah, but eating a spider, man, I wouldn't last. I would be out. That's not for me. Not for me. I am like a child with food, I think. Well, no, like I said, I'm not hugely adventurous, but I'm not I'm not a picky eater too, if that makes sense. I don't know. How do you make blood pudding? It's weird. It's like a sausage almost, and I'm not entirely sure how they make it, but there's blood in it. So it's got like this black kind of color. It's disgusting. Like I said, my ex's father loved it, and when he come over, I cook it for him because I knew he loved it, but I would not touch it. I just wouldn't eat it. And you'd find that, I think it was it Ireland? In England, maybe? Those two places. I think I remember seeing it. But yeah, it looks disgusting. Kramit says, eating Spider-Man is a crime. I agree. I agree. No one should be eating Spider-Man. So I've been working on a couple of videos, guys. My stuff is kind of all over the place right now. I really do want it to have like a creative edge here, whether it's like making something or painting something or drawing something or sculpting something, or like finding ways to bring my art into storytelling, which I've got some ideas for. But two videos that I'm working on right now, because they're kind of on the easier side, and the reason why I'm doing that is because those pots just about freaking killed me. And they're not performing half as well as some other videos that I did that were easy, which is just mind-blowing to me. It's crazy when you put the work in and it's just like it falls kind of short. I have a feeling it'll be kind of like a sleeper video, because there's one video that I did before. It was on how to gesso wood panels. And when I did it, I wasn't expecting it to get many views, but it was something that I did to kind of get used to editing. And at the time I was doing a lot of paint pouring, and I liked pouring paint on wood panels because the canvas, when you pour on canvas, the paint would kind of puddle in the middle and it would just kind of sit there and ruin your work. So I ended up switching to wood panels, and I had to learn how to prep them. So I did a whole video on that. And again, like I figured this is not really going to go anywhere, but it's helpful if somebody wants to try to learn themselves. And that video would have taken off over the last few years. So I have a feeling this video might do something like that, because not a lot of people are looking for creepy, weird stuff in April. We're in April, right? But it's kind of springy because it's for planters. So I wasn't sure how it'd go. It's just the amount of work that I put. It was like 5 weeks of chaos. It was making, it was filming, it was editing. It was realizing I was editing wrong. Like I almost needed a script or a story to tell first so that it would make it easier to bring in the video to edit into it to show you guys what I was doing. So it's like 5 weeks was whittled down to like 10 minutes and 30 seconds of video. And that to me is mind blowing. The amount of hours that I put in to have 10 minutes and 30 seconds of video, I was just like, holy shit. So that was a bit of a learning process. So I kind of need a break. So I was looking at the next two videos, one being showing you guys the whole racing pigeons thing that my other half does. And the other one, I was thinking about going through my old middle school art with you guys. I found this old folder that's got all my old drawings in there from when I was in middle school. And I thought they were kind of funny to look through. So I don't know. What do you think? Woo! Throwing my drink. What do you think? Would be a interesting one to watch? I didn't spill it on me, but it's on my desk. Son of a gun. I don't have a towel. Oh well, I'll just have to try to avoid it for right now. All right. Pam, jeez. Yeah, they took forever. Dylan says, you seen where that dude pokes holes in paint cans and swings them above canvas? Pretty cool stuff. Yes, I have seen him, and I've seen that method. It's cool for sure. I just don't have the space to be doing that. Need a lot of space for half of these like acrylic pours, and that one especially. You need the room to be able to swing the bucket over the canvas. But yeah, his stuff came out pretty cool. It's like a pendulum, basically. Dropping paint. Ghost Tracks. Blood pudding is a part of a traditional Irish or Scottish breakfast. Okay. I knew I had definitely seen it in Ireland. but for some reason I thought I saw it in England too. I can't remember. What did Dylan ask? I see a question mark. Oh, it was probably about the painting. Okay. Ghost Tracks, you did a fantastic job on the pots. You're very creative. Thank you so much. Yeah, they took forever. Pam says yes, England too. I thought so. Yeah. I know, I'm pretty sure I saw them in Scotland as well, Ghost, but for sure. I can almost see the restaurant that I was sitting in, the hotel restaurant, having, not me having. I think Barry was having blood pudding. Yeah. As soon as I heard blood, I was out. Like, oh, good. Yeah, it looked gross. Kremet, have you ever tried 3D painting? 3D painting how? Like, I know there's some people that like mix their paint into like maybe a plaster or some other like medium where you can build up stuff like that kind of 3D painting. Not entirely sure. Michael says, I love painting. I wish I had the skill for it. You could. You're just going to work at it. It's like anything else. And working on your drawing skills will help you with your painting skills, just because it'll teach you about shapes and forms and composition and what's the other word I'm looking for? Like scale of things, how big different objects are compared to others, that sort of thing. The painting can be learned. I think people in general, some have like a natural ability for certain things where it's like it's just not as hard for them. For some reason they just get it. It's like math. I suck at math. I suck at it and I hate it. But I know somebody else who loves it and thinks it's great and it's just easy for them. That's not me. I have to work at it. Drawing and painting and that sort of thing, anything artsy was always kind of easy for me. And I just enjoyed it. It kind of came natural. But that doesn't mean that I didn't have to work at it, because I'm rusty as hell now. Like, I was all over it when I was in school, like middle school and high school. But I've been away from it for a while now that I am rusty for sure. So yeah, you can get better. Pam says, I failed miserably in art class, or class in school. Art was like art and history were my two favorite subjects in school. So not much has changed over the years. But I used to look forward to it. And actually in high school, most of my classes were art. By the time junior, senior year rolled around, it was mainly art classes. Kremits, using an acrylic dome. I saw a video on it earlier today. Using an acrylic dome. So you're painting on something that's 3D? I'm confused. Ghost Tracks. I'll never get off the food after this. It's the most disgusting foods ever. Foie gras? Never heard of that. I know I'm probably not pronouncing it right. Michael, I never had the ability. I do go to art shows and sometimes I can even see myself walking in it. Oh, your wife's into stained glass? That would be fun. I've seen videos on that made me be like, ooh, but I already have I already have too many hobbies. I've got so much art crap around here for like clay and painting and markers and most of it's already not getting used, so I really don't need another hobby right now, but it did look interesting. Steven says, hi Chris, I live in Sleepy Hollow, New York. We have some fantastic colonial / Revolutionary War historical sites here. Are you into that period of history? I am. I've always been a huge fan of American history. I absolutely love my country. I always have. I know a lot of people try to shame me for that these days. I really don't give a shit. America. I'm one of those people. I love it here. And I appreciate our history. We've done a lot of growing over the years. But yes, I grew up in New England, so I was surrounded by revolutionary spots. Civil War, not as much. We did have some stuff up there, but Revolutionary War, big time. I used to love it, going to Paul Revere's house and going to Lexington Green and just like all the spots in the Freedom Trail down in Boston. So yeah, I love it. Absolutely love it. I've never been to Sleepy Hollow though. I will say that. Been to a lot of places, that's not one. But a lot of times too, I like to, for travel on my own, I like to pick historic places to visit, historic locations. A lot of times that's kind of my inspiration for a trip. That or like genealogy, I found out that my ancestor was from a certain place, and then I want to go and check it out and see what it's all about, or visit their gravestone or whatever. Road Reaper videos. I can't see this because it's stupid thing. Hold on. I know how to do art, but my hands don't cooperate. Fair enough. It's weird. So if I'm looking at the comments on the phone, which I'm recording from, the comments disappear after a second. So I'm like scrambling to try to read what you guys are reading. But then if I read it on my computer, the newest one has like a reaction button in front of it. So I can't see the full, the full comment. It's a pain in the ass. Let me see if I can move it. No, that doesn't work. Doesn't work. Oh well. Oh well. I mentioned this before the other day. Hydro dipping is a printing technique that transfers paint from water to any object you choose. Oh, okay. So my aunt's done that. My aunt used to do that with her ex. I never did try it though. She was doing it while I was doing acrylic pours because they're kind of similar-ish. As far as things just being flowy and you can only control so much and you can pick your colors and all that stuff. But after that, after a certain point, it's out of your hands. So yeah, she was doing that while I was doing pours, but I never did try it. She loved it. Michael, I went to a Vincent van Gogh exhibition in New York, walked out crying. Van Gogh is amazing. So I got to go to the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam. That's a big one, and they've got so much of his work. And that museum is really cool because they have all of his artwork in like chronological order. So when you first walk into the exhibit, you're starting with his earliest works, and they look nothing like the work that we know him for, because we know him for these like bright colors and work that's kind of influenced off the old Japanese like prints. But his old stuff was all really like earth tones, browns and blacks and like yellow ochre kind of colors and just dark. It was dark. So it started off with all his early stuff and sketches and like then it went into how he had been influenced by these prints that came out of Japan with all the bright colors, and it was just interesting to see how he found his style. That's I think I've enjoyed. Let's just say this. He was not one of my favorites until I went to that museum. My first favorite artist was MC Escher, and I have liked him since I was about 4 or 5. My mom had a book of his around the house, which I actually have on my shelf, and I used to flip through it all the time when I was a kid, and I just loved it. So much so that when The Labyrinth came out and they have the end with Toby climbing around all the stairs, even as a kid, I knew who that was inspired by. And I was probably only 4 or 5 when I watched that. I knew it was Escher. Then I fell in love with Salvador Dali. I liked the whole surrealist, weird edge. Which is what I liked about Escher. He was very precise with everything, but his imagination was insane. Dolly's imagination was insane, but he was a lot looser in his work. And then Van Gogh creeped in as a favorite when I went and I visited that museum because, like I said, it was fun to actually see how somebody's art style developed in a museum. You don't get to see that very often. Usually, if a place has work from an artist, you just see all their work all kind of thrown together, but you don't usually see it like put in order like that. Oh my God, The Labyrinth. Yes, it was my favorite movie as a kid. The Labyrinth rocked. Yeah, it did. I had a high school teacher who claimed, let's see the stupid reaction button, claimed he touched Van Gogh's Sunflowers painting. Oh, as long as he didn't throw tomato juice at it or oil at it or some other bullshit at it. I'm okay with him touching it. I'm actually kind of jealous. um, I'm trying to think though. There's two paintings. No, I think there's one painting that made me tear up. Or was it two? I think it might have, maybe two. I can't remember. I saw the Mona Lisa. I gone to Paris by myself for a week. It was the only international trip I took alone. And I went to the Louvre and I got to see the Mona Lisa. And it was pure and utter chaos because people think the Mona Lisa is huge. It's not. It's like, I think it's like an 8x10. It's not big at all, right? And they've got it in this glass case, but there's so many people standing around looking. Like, it's hard to really get up close to have a look at it. So I remember being overwhelmed that I was there because I'd taken art class after art class after art class in high school. I never thought I'd ever be standing in front of it. That's been the thing with the travel. Like I said, I'm very well aware that I've been very, very lucky and very fortunate because if it wasn't for the show, I don't think I would have had the ability to travel as much as I have. That trip, like I said, I took on my own. And it was because Jim Morrison's 40th anniversary of his death. And they were doing this big celebration thing in town because he died in Paris. And Robbie and Ray were there, two of the Doors members, and two other members that were from like Doors tribute bands to play. So that was my reason to go, and that could be a story for another day. But I ended up taking the week to kind of explore Paris, and one of the things I did was visit the Louvre, and I went to go see the Mona Lisa. Very weird, very busy, very chaotic, couldn't get close to it. It was one of those deals where you're holding your phone up over your head to try to get a picture of it over the crowd of people standing in front of it. So it was a little overwhelming, but I remember kind of tearing up a little bit because it was just like, holy shit, you know, I've seen this a million times in art books when I was a kid. I never thought I'd actually be standing in front of it ever in my life. Like, this is crazy. The wild part is when I turned a corner in there, there was this massive painting that I loved in high school called The Raft of Medusa. And I don't remember the artist's name. I've never remembered it. I've always remembered the name of the painting. And it's a painting that was based off a shipwreck that happened way back when. I don't know, 1700s, 1800s, 1716, I don't know, way back. And it was a painting about the survivors on the ship. And it was like a bunch of people floating on a makeshift raft of what was left of the ship after it sank. There were some people that were like in total desperation, despair. There was others where you could tell they just given up all hope. There was others that were still hopeful and they're trying to flag down another ship. Like, there's so many different expressions and like things going on in that painting that I remember in high school. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And those books, they were little, like it was a little print of this picture. So when I got to the Louvre and I saw Mona Lisa, and I was like, okay, that's done. And I turned a corner and there's this painting that I was in love with all through high school. And it was like the size of a wall.
I beyond teared up. I was like nerding out, like tears. I couldn't believe it. And I remember sitting on the bench in front of it, just staring at it for like 40 minutes. I would have probably wasted more time there, but I only had a day at the Louvre, which is not enough time. But it was so cool to see in person. So freaking cool. If you can, look up a painting. Theodore, yep. I'm not even gonna try to butcher his last name, Pam, but thank you for that. The painting is amazing. Amazing, amazing. So yeah, I think that was like that was a highlight over Mona Lisa for me. Funny enough. I just, like I said, I didn't even know it was there. So that was like one hell of a surprise. And I remember like just geeking over that painting in art books all through high school. I don't even know how I stumbled upon it, but I loved it. So that was kind of cool. Sin Saintly. Everything I create is on the macro side. I love beauty from darkness. I love when people go deep, flaws, insecurities, figures, etc. There's so many museums I'd love to go to over there. Yeah, I agree. The Raft of Medusa was by Theodore. I don't know how to say his last name, so I'm not going to butcher it. And I saw it along with the Shroud of Turin in 1979. Okay. Yeah, it's a wild painting. I can't even imagine, like, I have a hard time not stressing out about a painting that's like this. I don't know how somebody paints something the size of a wall. I did a mural once in high school, and that took me forever. Forever. And halfway through, somebody vandalized it, freaking graffitied it. So upset. A bunch of kids ended up coming out and helping me because it turned into my art grade for that year. I had like an independent study in art. Basically, what happened is I ran out of art classes to take, so I could take an independent study. And every year in high school, the seniors would get to paint the shed out on the football field, and they'd paint some sort of theme or whatever. Our grade, it was complete and utter chaos. It was a friggin' hot mess. Everybody went out there, they're slapping paint on, they're writing their names over somebody else's name. And the first somebody who got written over was pissed at the next somebody who put their name on. It was a hot mess. It was awful. So it got to the point where our class almost ruined it for everybody. Like our principal, he was new. He was a tough cookie, but he was great. He was amazing. But he ended up having the whole thing painted over, except for a horse that I had painted on the side of it that looked like it was jumping out of a hole, and the thing was awful. Like, I didn't sketch it out first. I didn't plan it. I just kind of was like, well, everybody else is throwing shit up here. I might as well do something too. And it was horrible. So he had the whole shed painted over except for the horse. And I was just like mortified because I knew it was awful. And I was a shy kid. So I went up to the principal and I was like, why did you leave the horse up there? It's awful. And he's like, you shouldn't say that. One of the students in your class worked very hard on that. I'm like, yeah, I'm the student. It's awful. He was just like, all right. He goes, well, tell you what, come up with a plan for a mural for the side of the shed and have, like, I don't know if he approved it or if our teacher had to approve it. And then he had the paint bought, and it was supposed to be a class thing where whoever volunteered to help, like the thing that I had drawn would be what was going up. But we only got a handful of people. It was mainly all of us art kids that showed up. And then before I knew it, I was there by myself. And then halfway through, some asshole spray painted it. So they graffitied it. And I was in tears because my art teacher decided that that would be my grade for the semester on top of just doing this thing for a school shed that everybody's going to freaking see. So when that happened, a bunch of kids showed up to help me fix it, which was really nice. And it eventually did get finished, but it's not there anymore. It was on there for a long time though, because I went there like, I don't know, 10, 15 years later, and it was still on there, but it was peeling like crazy. So they've since painted over it, which is fine. Jake. Loved Chris on Ghost Hunters International. Anybody know her actual name? Is it Chris short for Christina or Kristen. It's short for Kristen, but I'm an IN. I'm not an EN. So Kristin. I posted a link to that one video to your last post on Facebook. The pots? Vandalism is beyond annoying. Oh my god. It was so maddening. It was so maddening. And it was like, you know, I should have known it was going to happen because everybody's school has got some punks in it, but I didn't think they would do that. It was just kind of shitty. So anyways, it got finished and I don't know. I have a picture of it, but not with me. Maybe, because like I said, I'll do a video with the art from middle school soon. And then I have some stuff left over from high school, so that could be a different video because it'd just be too much. And if I can find the picture of that painting, of the mural, I will share it. It wasn't amazing because I don't usually work that big, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad mural for what it was. Mr. Just DIY. I loved watching you on taps. Thank you so much. Thanks you. My English is good today. Thanks. I appreciate it. I've had a YouTube channel for a while. I just really haven't done much with it in a long freaking time. And I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do here. I'd like it to be kind of creative and weird and history-ish and kind of travel-y. I'm going to try to figure out how to mix all those things into a weird little ball. But I am working on a paranormal channel with Dustin Perry, and it's called Rebellious Spirits. So if you go to @rebellious_spirits, you'll find our channel here on YouTube. There's not a lot on there right now. Dustin and I really weren't thinking this out too well. We started it up, but we kind of forgot he was leaving on this tour that was going to be like 2 months, and there's a shit ton of stops. I'm so proud of him. But it just doesn't leave him with a lot of time. So we started it, and then it was just kind of like, oh shit, we're going to have to kind of put it on hold to some degree until he has more time and he's home and we can kind of brainstorm a bit more. But that should be fun. Sin Saintly. I loved how Amy would get all stressed when you provoked. And I didn't even provoke that hard. I wasn't doing anything too crazy, you know? So I don't know what the stress was about. Pam, yes, he's coming to my city, Toronto. Awesome. Are you gonna go? Mr. Just DIY. Do you still sell on eBay? I haven't in a while. I have a year-round Halloween shop that I have called Wickedly Williams, and I sell a lot of like fun kind of creepy themed stuff on there year-round, whether it's like Halloween or paranormal, and I've started doing cryptid stuff on there too. It's kind of a mix of things right now. And eBay I tend to use when I have stuff that I kind of want to auction off. I was selling a lot of my paintings there before. I might do that again once I start making stuff again. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I still have my page. Brian, got any travel plans? I think some Chris Williams travel vlogs would be interesting to the masses. I don't have any. Well, no, I lie. I'm going to be headed back to New Hampshire soon. The end of May, I'm going to be in Pennsylvania for Penhurst. I'm doing an event there. But there won't be a lot of time to look around. Usually when you go to events, you fly in, you do the event, and you fly out. So it doesn't leave you a lot of time to explore. And events are usually pretty chaotic. So I'm not sure how much vlogging I'll be able to do from there. Then I'm going to New Hampshire for probably a week in June. That might be a little tough, but we'll see what we can do. Yeah, I want to start making little trips again. I'm getting stir crazy. I'm really getting stir crazy, but we'll see. I like the content on Rebellious Spirits that I've seen. Thank you. We plan on doing a lot more there. So the idea of Rebellious Spirits wasn't just the paranormal. It was about looking into people who had a rebellious spirit in life. They lived with a rebellious spirit. They lived to shake things up in a good way. So we kind of wanted to go into history and find these people that kind of did amazing things and tell their story, since they're no longer here to tell it. And we're also going to mix that with the paranormal. So it'll be kind of, it'll be fun. It'll be fun once we start getting into it. We just haven't been able to really sit down and make some solid videos yet because, like I said, he's got his hands full, and I totally understand. He's going to get through this beast of a tour, which I hear is going really well for him. They're treating him really great. He seems really happy, so I'm happy for him. But I can't wait to get him back, damn it. We haven't done a live in a while. I still need to get a shirt. I'm so absent-minded. You're not absent-minded. Life is busy. I get it. Pam, brothels from around the world. New video. No way. One was enough. One was enough. I don't want to go to a bunch of them. Good God. Active brothels or defunct brothels asking for a friend? Neither. I wandered into one by mistake and I'll never live it down. And of course, I just have to share it with more people, so I'll really never live it down. My goodness. Let's see. Love watching you on taps. I love the cryptid world, the odd things you see in the military outings. I can only imagine ghost tracks. Can only imagine. I'm sure you guys have seen some weird stuff. I've seen enough weird stuff. It's frustrating. The paranormal is in such a weird place right now because it's like people have taken it down an entertainment route, which is fine if you're going to label yourself as paranormal entertainment. But if you're labeling yourself as paranormal reality, that's kind of a different thing, because the reality of the paranormal is it's not demon crazy. There's not like an everyday possession. People aren't running and screaming and freaking out. If anything, you're trying to stay awake because most of it is just sitting and waiting and watching and listening, hoping and praying you might get something. It's not a guarantee ever that you'll get something. And usually if something happens, it's not an in your face something. It's a, did I just see what I thought I saw? Did I just hear what I thought I heard? They've kind of turned it into just Hollywood lately, and I don't like it. So, I don't know. What can you do, right? Sin Saintly, I've been using the flashlight experiment a lot more lately. What is your favorite method for ghost hunting? I personally don't like the flashlight method. And I'll tell you why. It's because the flashlight, and I don't know all the ins and outs of this, but basically it goes through a natural period of warming and cooling, like the coil in it. So if you've got it at a point where it's just right on the line of being on and off, it'll just kind of cycle through on its own. So if you're going to do the flashlight thing, use a bunch of them at the same time. I've only ever seen it used once in a paranormal situation, one time, where I thought it was kind of impressive, and that was like the person had 5 different flashlights. All the flashlights were 5 different colors. One was red, one was blue, one was green, one was whatever, like the exterior of the flashlights. And the person put one on a windowsill, they put one on a dresser, they put one on a floor, they put one on a table, they were all over the place. And they were asking for specific flashlight colors and specific locations to turn on. And it was happening. That was the one and only time I've ever cared for a flashlight. Otherwise, I've been to events where people do the flashlight thing and they'll ask the same question 10 times, and then the flashlight will turn on and they think it's an answer, but it's like, well, what about the other 9 times that it didn't turn on for that question? Like, it's just try to make it difficult so that if there is anything there that's intelligent,
you know, you can make it a bit more difficult to see if there is something to it rather than just cycling through the same question and hoping it turns on. But yeah, favorite piece of equipment for me has always been a recorder. I've been in rooms completely and utterly by myself, like no camera people, no crew, no anyone, just myself with the recorder. And have a great weekend, Mr. Just. And then I've heard the recorder back later and gotten a voice in there that was very clear, sounded like a guy, sounded close, and it didn't make sense. So that was always something that I enjoyed. But yeah, I think there's a lot of hokey stuff out there. And the unfortunate part is that when you work in a field that is, there's no regulations on it, because how could you even begin to regulate it? You don't have to prove beyond a doubt that it exists. It just leaves a lot of room for fraud, and it leaves a lot of room for just people making shit up. So it's, unless you're dealing with somebody who's being as straightforward as they can with the subject matter, it's kind of a hard thing to trust sometimes. So I would highly encourage skepticism coming back, because that seems to be missing lately. It's like, you know, I just don't want anybody trusting anyone at face value, even me. If you stop questioning me in my evidence, I'll be mad at you. Question everything. Don't be rude about it. But like, you know, if I brought a piece of evidence to you and you didn't ask me any questions, you're just like, "Oh, cool. It's got to be real because it's Chris Williams." I'd be like, "No, come on. Think. What did I miss? What did I maybe not check? You know, what should I do different next time? How can I make this harder to, like, you know, whatever." But yeah, I miss the days of people questioning things, because you don't learn anything when you stop questioning. And you leave so much room for frauds to come in if you don't question. So question. It's not a bad thing. It doesn't make you a hater like they like to tell you, especially the fraudy people. People who are frauds don't want you questioning, so they'll call you a hater when you do. That is like a massive red flag. Massive. Question, question, question. Be respectful, but question. Ugh, anyways. Michael says, Chris, you guys did an investigation on this mental institution in Connecticut. My father used to be a psychiatrist there. My friends and I used to go bowling there Friday nights. It was creepy. You went bowling there? Dylan, true, you can't deny the recorder. Even then, people can be tricky with recorders. I mean, what if you get somebody who's just good at editing sound? So this is what I mean, like, just question things. You know what I mean? Like, when I have a recorder and I have something pop up in it and I know that I was there and I know what I did and didn't hear when I was there, then I am happy with that. When I hear somebody else's evidence, I still take everything with a grain of salt, and I don't take offense when people take my stuff with a grain of salt. I expect them to. Like, they should. Like, this isn't something, like I said, there's just so much room for people to just be dipshits. Because they want some likes, they want some clicks, they want some views, they want to be famous, whatever their freaking motivation is. Unfortunately, it seems like a lot of people have gone in that direction because they've just seen it as this way to blow up, because they don't have to prove anything. So they can be as crazy as they think they can get away with, which is unfortunate. The paranormal is a weird space. I've had some weird shit happen, but I can promise you it doesn't happen every day. And I can promise you in the 4 years that I was looking for something, I never run into anything that I would consider demonic. The demonic term is so clickbait. Super, super clickbait these days. If I hear it now, I just roll my eyes. I'm like, all right, whatever. Portal, okay, all right, whatever. Oh, yeah, you're possessed. Oh, yeah, me too every Saturday. Like, it's just, it's unfortunate. Question, question, question. Like I said, if you respectfully question somebody and they get mad at you and they call you a hater, red flag. Demonic is entertainment value. Exactly. That's all it is. That's all it is. The unfortunate part, though, is you have people watching it like it's for real, and it's not for real. The demonic thing, like, if it happens, it is so freaking rare. So when people make it look like it happens all the time, every day, in every location they go into, it's bullshit. Bullshit. I personally don't believe in anything, but every once in a while you come across something that makes you question yourself. Exactly. Yeah, I've always been pretty skeptical, but I still have a handful of things that I can't wrap my head around. I also don't like calling places haunted. The closest I get to is saying, "Oh yeah, that place was weird." It was weird. I don't fully understand what's happening. I don't fully understand how it works. To just put a stamp on something like, this is my stamp of approval, it's haunted. It's like, I don't feel like I have the right or knowledge to do that. I can say I've had weird shit happen in the place, and I could share those experiences with you. And I know there's certain places that are just known as a notorious spot and the paranormal, and some of those places live up to that weirdness. Waverly Hills is one, but I don't like to call a place haunted personally. The best you'll get out of me is that place was weird. Norwich State, weird. Waverly Hills, weird. Iron Island Museum, weird. In Buffalo, New York. Where's some other ones? Hoover Dam was weird. Cool freaking location, but it was weird. There's a few. There's a hotel in Florida that was weird. I was staying at while I was there for an investigation. It wasn't the place we're investigating, but it was still, some weird shit happened in it. Maybe I should do a video on weird shit. Let's see. It was a little spooky. It happened in my house, but I've never felt like my house is haunted. Okay. I would love to go to Waverly, but I'm sure the elevators don't work anymore. I don't think there are any working elevators. I only remember taking stairwells. I don't remember there being any elevators. Imagine getting haunted by Florida Man? By what? Hold on. Getting haunted by Florida Man. What's that? I don't know. All right, so are there any other things you guys would like me to share here that is not paranormal? And I say that because most of the paranormal stuff is going to be over on the channel with Dustin and I. Stuff here is going to just be like travel, it's going to be history, it's going to be weird shit, and it's going to be creative. It's, like I said, I'm going to mix all that stuff together somehow. We got a video with the pigeon racing coming up. Been working on that today, and I'm going to do one on my art from middle school. But if there's anything else you guys would like me to share, knowing some of the crap that I have shared with you over the past, let me know, and I'll see what I can do until I find my little groove here on YouTube. I don't want like one solid niche. I hate being trapped. Pam says, yes, weird shit. Yes, so I do like weird stuff. Like whether it's like true crime or like some weird little curse angle or like some weird history thing or that sort of stuff. It'd be less weird paranormal here. That'll be saved for Dustin and I's channel. But I might just be all over the place here for a while until I figure out what the hell's going on. I do have a series that I want to start. So we'll see how that goes, but that one will be a lot of work. That one will make these things look like they were a friggin' piece of cake. I'm excited for that other project, but I'm also terrified. True crime is very popular. Yeah, it is. And it's something that I've been into since I was in my early 20s, especially when it comes to serial killers. I don't know why. There's just always been a weird, I don't want to say fascination. I feel like sometimes when you say fascination, it sounds like a good thing. I've just been always curious about what makes them tick. What makes them work? Like, why are they capable of doing what they're doing? Pam, I love true crime if done well. I hear you. I hear you. I got some ideas. So I'm thinking history, travel, creative, all with the twist of weird. Maybe some little weird angle. Like this was maybe not necessarily weird, but it was still in the spooky kind of realm, right? Because Nightmare Before Christmas, I mixed it with spring. So I'm trying to think of like projects like that could be kind of fun and quick. This was not quick, by the way, but you know what I mean. To other things that might be a little bit more in depth and like maybe vloggy at points. I don't know. Little vloggy, little edited, little mix of both. I've always been fascinated by the women that are basically serial killer groupies. They are an odd breed. You are not kidding. I still can't wrap my head around the fact that Ted Bundy had a child. I'm pretty sure it was a girl. And nobody knows where she went. Nobody knows where she went. Not that I'm saying like nobody knows where she went. She's obviously going to be a psychotic killer herself. It's just like her father was so frigging notorious. I just don't understand how the woman who insisted he was innocent and shacked up with him while he was in jail was able to go into hiding that deeply with her child. I mean, granted, it was what did he die? Was it like, I want to say it was the early 90s, wasn't it? Or was it the 80s? Might have been the 80s. I can't remember, but they just fell off the map. How do you even do that? And I get that it was like an earlier time, but I'm just surprised nobody's tracked that situation down. It's kind of weird. Are you interested in teaching us how to draw? I might be able to do that too. I could do some of that. Some how-tos mixed into everything else. I kind of want to do some storytelling and mix in some of my sketching at the same time. So like, let's say I don't have video clips of a place to turn to or add in, like I'd have clips of something that I had drawn or sketched or whatever. So my artwork would help tell the story of whatever it is that I'm telling. Figure that might be a fun way to kind of overlap the two. A little different. But I'm working on it. Right now, I'm just trying to get a handle on how this whole friggin' beast works. Because I would tell you, I got my ass handed to me on that last video with these friggin' pots. They were a lot. But take a balloon ride at night over the desert or over a city. I enjoy taking you on a... yeah, I would never parachute. I'm not jumping out of a perfectly good plane. And two, I have no interest in a balloon ride. There was one recently that fell right out of the sky. There's people parachuting off the damn thing too. I guess they went up. I guess that's a thing. Parachute off of hot air balloons. But this was probably like a month or two ago, and the balloon went down and a bunch of people died. I have no interest. No, thank you. Would you do a missing persons mysteries? Maybe. Depends on the story. Everyone is weird. Everyone is wired different. I thought you were saying everyone is weird different. I'm like, well, I guess that's true. Everyone is wired different, I suppose, anyway. I used to have a best friend, and I thought I knew him very well. Well, let's just say he did strange shit, which I've learned later in life. Yeah, sometimes people aren't who they make you think they are. I've done that one a few times, too. It's not a fun lesson. Um, Pops Mickey. Hey, Chris. Hope you're doing great. I am doing great. I'm getting a little tired though, so I might jump off here soon. Figure I've been blabbing for an hour and a half, and I'm sure you guys are sick of me by now. But yeah, no, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Keeping busy. Trying to get this channel going. Trying to figure out what I'm doing with it. Running my Halloween shop. Doing Patreon. What else have I been doing? Events. Kind of all over the place. But yeah, it was good. How did I miss the pot video? See, this is what I mean. I think that because I didn't put my friggin' face on the thumbnail, people just, it just slid right by them. I made three, I took 3 terracotta pots and I painted them all in a Nightmare Before Christmas theme, basically. So I have Jack, I have Sally, and I have Zero. And I posted that on Thursday. But I think people are so used to seeing my face on a thumbnail, or they just don't it's just getting lost in the stream. I didn't use my face on the thumbnail. I just put a terracotta pot, and then I put a picture of that blurred out with the question mark in front of it. So I think it kind of got lost in people's feeds, which kind of sucks. I don't know. Maybe I'll redo the thumbnail. Put my crazy face in it so people are like, oh, there's Chris. I was trying to avoid it because I don't like putting my face in all the thumbnails. It's like, oh, look at me. It's just feels a little weird. And taking pictures for thumbnails, I hate it. I like going through old photos. I like to draw, but I have issues with shading the right places. Yeah, it just takes a little practice. Do you know one thing you can do to practice is take a few objects, put them on a table, and put a light, like a real direct light on it, and then you can see where all the shadows fall. And draw it that way, then move the light. Draw it again and move the light, and just see how the light and the shadow changes around the objects that you're kind of playing around with. After a while, you'll get used to it. Like you'll be able to, if you're drawing from a photo or you're drawing your own, you know, composition or whatever, you can plan where you want the light source to be. And after you've had enough practice, can pretty much guess where the light should or shouldn't hit and where shadows should fall. But it just takes a little while. That's all. You'll get it. Just take some practice. All right, guys, I am going to jump off of here. I don't know why. Well, I kind of do know why I'm tired. My other half's dogs got loose last night and they got lost in the desert, and we were looking for them for about 3 or 4 hours. Him for 4 hours, me for about 3. He was looking, I was looking, my dad was looking, his parents were looking. We found them, but we live near a very, 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 very busy road where we've seen a lot of dogs killed on that road, and we found out that they crossed it. So we're all freaked out. I'm exhausted this morning. Anyways, Black Hat Team says, at Chris Williams, people need to select all for notifications. Jesus, my talking is off today. Thank you for that, Black Hat Team. Thank you. Yes. I'm going to also try to do a live stream here once a week eventually. I don't know if there's going to be a topic every time or if it's just going to be we're going to sit around and shoot the shit. One of the 2 things will happen. But with that said, I am going to jump off. I am freaking starving. I am tired. And you guys need to go out and enjoy your Saturday. It's the weekend. Go have fun. Okay? Thank you so much for hanging out. I will be back very soon. I'll give you guys a heads up. And if you can, go check out the video on the terracotta pots. Hopefully you like it. Till next time, guys. Thank you, and have a good week.